All right, welcome to The Explainer. So today, we are diving into the work of a scientist who believes the solution to a lot of our modern diseases isn't found in a pill bottle, but right in our own pantry. We're going to explore a philosophy that says our food is directly linked to our health, our environment, and yeah, even our future. Now, the material we're exploring today, it kicks things off with this really provocative question. A lot of us might immediately point to junk food, right? But the research we're covering argues the answer is actually much closer to home. In fact, it's sitting right there on our dinner plates every single day. Okay, so let's get right into it. The central argument here is that these four staples, the very bedrock of most modern diets, are the main culprits behind a whole host of lifestyle diseases. For instance, the source points to things like the hormones in milk potentially causing early puberty, or even the chemicals used to process wheat flour possibly damaging the pancreas. So how exactly do these everyday foods cause all these problems? Well, according to the source material, it all boils down to one key concept, something called glucose imbalance. And this chart, wow, it just brilliantly illustrates the core issue. On one side, you've got what the source calls negative grains. Yep, that's rice and wheat. They're low in fiber, which means they turn into glucose and just slam into your bloodstream. We're talking super fast, like 15 to 40 minutes. But then, on the other side, you have the positive grains, or Siridhanya. These guys release that glucose slowly, steadily, over 5 to 7 hours. It's this huge difference that brings us to the scientist who really dug into this whole phenomenon. So the scientist who dedicated his life to this is Dr. Khadar Valli. Let's dig into the journey that led him to this incredible discovery. His story is pretty incredible. It actually started with his postdoc research on steroids, where he really got to see firsthand how powerful and dangerous they could be, completely disrupting the body's balance. But a real turning point came when he was in the US. He met a 6-year-old girl who was having menstrual pains. A 6-year-old! That one incident is what sparked his whole investigation into the hormones in our food, especially milk. Eventually, he got so frustrated with corporate influence on research that he resigned from a major post in India to go it alone. He completely dedicated himself to rediscovering these ancient grains that he now calls Siridhanya. So what are these special grains he's championing? Well, Dr. Valli identified 5 specific types of millets, and he gave them the name Siridhanya. It basically translates to wealth grains, and you're about to see why. And here they are: foxtail millet, kodo millet, barnyard millet, little millet, and brown top millet. These 5 are absolutely central to his whole philosophy. Now, the research says each one has unique properties, like foxtail millet for neurological health or kodo millet for purifying the blood. But what is it that makes all 5 of them so special? Well, it all comes down to one crucial scientific measurement, and that measurement is the carbohydrate to fiber ratio, or C to F ratio for short. Now, the idea here is actually really simple. The lower this number is, the more fiber you have compared to the carbs. And that means the food releases its glucose into your blood much, much more slowly. According to this work, a single-digit ratio, well, that's the absolute sweet spot for your health. All right, now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the numbers. The 5 Siridhanya millets, they all have that perfect single-digit C to F ratio. But then you look at our common staples, wheat is over 63, and polished white rice, it's at a jaw-dropping 395. I mean, the contrast is just staggering. This right here is the scientific backbone for that whole argument about slow versus rapid glucose release. So, as you can probably tell, adopting this philosophy is about way more than just swapping your grains. It's a complete, comprehensive lifestyle shift with some really clear rules. And here's the basic framework. It's pretty straightforward. In the do's column, you've got the Siridhanya millets, of course. For sweeteners, it's palm jaggery, which is interesting because it's high in fructose, not glucose. And for oils, traditional cold-pressed oils. Then in the don'ts column, no surprise, rice, wheat, and maida are out. So is sugar and refined oils. And this is key, all animal milk is out. Though curd and buttermilk from certain cows are okay because the fermentation process actually changes their properties. And the lifestyle goes even deeper, laying out a whole daily routine.
It starts with drinking a special herbal decoction called a kashaner on an empty stomach. Then you're looking at just 2 main meals a day, both using one of the Siridhanyalu millets. It also includes walking for at least 75 to 90 minutes. And finally, some really strict sleep hygiene. We're talking sleeping at a pitch dark room, no electronics to maximize that all-important melatonin production. But as we're about to see, the argument is that the impact of all this goes way beyond just your personal health.
And that brings us to the final and maybe biggest piece of the puzzle. The philosophy we're looking at connects our food choices directly, and I mean directly, to the health of our entire planet. The argument is that what we choose to eat has these profound consequences for agriculture and the environment. Yeah, just look at this number, 8,000 liters. According to the source, that's roughly how much water it takes to grow just 1 kilogram of rice. Now, compare that to the Siri Jeevana millets. They only need about 200 to 300 liters. I mean, that is a truly staggering difference. It really highlights the huge environmental argument for shifting where we focus our agriculture. So, what's the proposed solution for farming? It's a return to a natural method called jungle krishi. It's a practice that completely avoids chemical fertilizers and pesticides. The whole goal is to heal the soil and bring back biodiversity. It's really a vision for an agriculture that doesn't just produce healthier food, but also protects our most critical resources, like water. So when you pull it all together, the crucial point is this. The work of Dr. Khadar Valli presents this incredible, unified system, a system where your personal health, the health of the planet, and your daily food choices are all completely inseparable. It really challenges us to look at our plates not just as fuel, but as our connection to this much, much larger web of life. And it leaves us with a pretty big question. What's really in the food we eat, and what is its true cost?